Hello. So my name is Olli. I will be your webinar host today. Welcome to our What's New webinar for CT 2020. With me today I have Francois Simon, who will actually demonstrate you live the features we have in Custom Tools 2020 Service Pack 1. You can use the chat box in the GoToWebinar panel during the presentation if you have any questions, and we will actually make room for answering and going through the questions after the webinar. So you can also post your questions then. This gives you a better room to actually concentrate on the webinar or the presentation during the webinar. We expect this webinar to be somewhere in the range of maybe 25-30 minutes. And we will record the webinar and we'll send you the link to the recording later on so you can revisit some parts if you need. Okay, with that being said, let's get started. So, in today's webinar, we'll be going through the new features. We'll introduce you to some of the general improvements in custom tools, as well as enhancements to the ERP connectors, and also, as we also always in our all service packs deliver some fixes to SPRs, we'll go through these briefly as well. So as said, we have made improvements both to the user interface and functionality in custom tools, but also improved usability when you're using SolidWorks PDM by introducing task add-ins. And as you might remember, we added some ERP connectors last year already in CT 2019 Service Pack 2 and 3, and in the first Service Pack 0 of CT 2020. Now, in this release we have brought in some enhancements for both the Dynamics NAV and the Odoo ERP connectors. Just as a reminder, remember that the connectors we have for the ERP systems are productified, so they actually require no programming skills to use. So you do not need to actually let's say have a developer or anyone do any coding. It's just a configuration task in custom tools when you know the specifics of your own ERP system. Okay. So first to the generic improvements. The first one is that we introduced a new property for storing the BOM quantity in custom tools. I'm not going to explain this in finer detail here. I will actually leave this to Francois to show later in the live demonstration. The second improvement we did is a rather minor one, but it can be a big help in, let's say, optimizing the usability of custom tools and optimizing your workflows, which can save you a lot of time. So in the batch operations dialog, we actually have a function now that lets you customize the menu options, so you can hide, for example, the printing options, or you can sort the menu items in that way that you have the most used option in the beginning. As mentioned, for the PDM integration, we have now added task add-ins. This means that you can execute the usual custom tools batch and export operations straight in SolidWorks PDM instead of actually having to open SolidWorks CAD at all, or even possessing a SolidWorks CAD license on the computer that you're using SolidWorks PDM on. And if you own a Custom Tools Professional license, you're actually already good to go with the PDM add-in as well. It uses the same license as Custom Tools in SolidWorks CAD. To the ERP Connections, so would like to briefly mention why we are doing ERP Connections in the first place. So our approach is that you should never perform the same task twice. You enter data once in SolidWorks, and with Custom Tools you export your product structure with a couple of clicks to your ERP system. And as mentioned, we currently ship the NAV and Odoo connectors out of the box in Custom Tools. And using integration saves you a lot of time, reduces errors between engineering and manufacturing, and improves the consistency of your data. We have productified this connector, which means for you that you do not have to kind of worry, do they work with my current setup or not, if you're using standard versions of SolidWorks that we support and standard versions of the ERP system that we support. For example, for the Odoo ERP connector, we currently support Odoo version 12 and 13. And as said, you do not need to know programming or hire a developer. You just need to understand your ERP system and configure custom tools accordingly. Map the fields and so on. Licensing, would like to briefly mention, these connectors require a standard CT professional license to operate, and on top, for the specific ERP system you're using, Dynamics NAV or Odoo, you need to purchase a separate connector license from us. So these are priced separately. This is one license you buy for your team or for your site, and you can contact us for the pricing if you're interested. We haven't yet updated our pricing page on Custom Tools at Info, but we'll be doing that in the near future as well. Briefly on the NAV connector, that is a truly two-way connector currently. So that means that you can actually pull in data from your ERP system before you export your product structures to ERP. You can pull in data such as item numbers, your project data, or various lookup lists, which could include, for example, like predefined unit of measures and such things. This helps you really keep data consistent between your CAD and ERP systems, and also eliminates the need for manually entering data into two separate systems. The Odoo connector was released last summer with CT 2000 SP2, and the basic version was included in CT 2020 SP0 version already. Now we have brought enhancements there, namely the comparison function, so you can compare stuff in your CAD product structure with your ERP before you do the export, and then you can also have a little bit of control when and what you update in Odoo. How do you actually overwrite the ERP data by using simple revision rules. So these are basically the overview of let's say new features and enhancements, and at this point we'll jump to the live demo. So I will give control to Francois and he will demonstrate these features live on his PC.
Yes, hi everyone. So let's get to the live demo. So first I'm going to start by showing you the PDM integration. So let's start SolidWorks. So I will show you what we had earlier in the past releases. so that you can just get a small overview of what we had regarding the PDM integration. So I'm now starting SolidWorks. I'm going to log into my database. Okay, so nothing has changed from the options. So the options are still identical to what they were. So here we have the different PDM vault that we detect on that machine. We have all the file conversion rules. So nothing has changed from this end. So what has changed is now we are able basically directly from the PDM vault, we have added the task add-in. So here you can see from the menu that we have custom tools. So this can be used to for instance, generate directly some Excel reports. So first I'm going to generate the report. So basically you are able to access the export dialog from your PDM vault. So this does not require a SolidWorks custom tools or SolidWorks licenses. Of course you need SolidWorks to run the export. So we'll check later regarding the task. So here I can just have the same Excel report as we have for custom tools, and then I just click export to generate the Excel report. Now for the PDM integration, so here I have the Excel report. It only supports the Excel report, so if you have integration to ERP system, that is also possible to integrate from the PDM vault, but we need to do some small configuration. So here we have the standard Excel report with the preview that can be configured. So I can run this on the fly, or then I can also create a task. So now if I go back to the vault and if I just refresh, so you see here I have now added a folder where we'll find here also the Excel report. So as for the Excel report, we can also do the file conversion. So once again, if I right click on my top level assembly, select custom tools and click print and convert. So the print and convert dialog is going to open in custom tool here. So here we have the whole structure. I'm just going to create some PDF for instance for the drawing that I have, and also some DXF file from the file. So you see only the sheet from my drawing that I need to create DXF will be selected. So I can press OK. So now what I did is that I have created a task in PDM. So if we go to the task list here, we can see that the process has started. So while doing, you can see here that SolidWorks is running in the background. So we can let SolidWorks does the job. And here I can show you in fact how we can create the add-in. So if you click on new add-in, so here you can see from the folder of custom tools, you have the custom tools task add-in. So you just need to select those 3 DLLs to create the add-in. And then from here you can just create some new tasks. So you can give it a name. You can also define like that we are going to use the add-in that we have just created. Here we just define like a usual PDM task, like where the add-in should be executed from. And then here we are just, I'm just going to select some machine. So here we have like 2 types of tasks. So we have the export or then the batch operation. So if I select the export, I need to query here. So by clicking here on the query, I will get a list of the export profile defined in custom tools. So I just click export, and then I can just define some variable, for example, if the task has succeeded or failed. And I can do exactly the same thing for the file conversion. So now we have like the task that allows you to run the export and file conversion or print directly from your PDM vault. So if we go back to the task list, so we can see now the task has been ready. So once again, if I just refresh here, we can see here that we have created the whole folder structure for the vault. Here you have my DXF. They were made from the drawing. And I have also defined the rules to basically create a subfolder based on the material used for the part. So here I have the one DXF, I have another one for the brace, and here. So this gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of file conversion. So here we have like all the PDF that we have created. So this is what we have for the enhancement made in the PDM integration. So I'm going to close, I can leave it open. I'm going now to start SolidWorks, and I'm going to show you the Odoo integration. So while SolidWorks is starting, so here we have the Odoo. So as you can see here, I have like 0 product here inside Odoo. So I'm first going to export. I can take this one here. I'm going to export that piston to Odoo, and then I will show you some of the enhancement made for the integration to Odoo. So here I have the Excel report. So as you can see here, now custom tools ask you to perform a compare. So this we are going to compare if the part or the assembly already exists as product in Odoo. So no, I can skip it because I know that I don't have any product. So I'm going just to export that to Odoo. And then I'm going to make some changes in the assembly just to show you like how now we can see the different changes. So here the export has been completed. So if I go back to Firefox and if I just refresh here, now we should have a few items here that were added to the list of product in Odoo. So I'm going just to search for some part here, and I would like to add a part. Let's add some small part here. Let's search for a bracket here. So I can just select a part. I'm just going to drag it here in my assembly. And I'm also, so I have added here a new part, and I'm also going to change here the description for that specific part, just to show you like how we are able to detect the changes in the integration. So let's call it like Spokes webinar. So we click on OK, and I'm also going to just to create here a new revision. So it will be revision D. I will just click OK. So this needs to be filled here. Let's keep it like that. OK. So let's save the assembly. And if I go back to the export, now I'm going to perform the compare. So you can see here that now we have a bit more color. So item in greens are items that already exist in Odoo and have not been modified. Here, item in red are items that exist but there has been some changes. So this is why we want to have them. So here I have the new revision. I was using in fact the wrong description. That's why it's yes, now it's going to add the description, and here we have also like the item that I have just added that do not exist in Odoo. So once I click in export, now I'm just going to update the item. So it's quite fast because we are only updating the item that have been modified. So if I go to the options, I can just show you like where you can do those changes. So here we have the Odoo ERP integration. So this is what we have also added here to allow you to update existing products and also define the mapping between the image filled in Odoo and the preview image from SolidWorks. So this is what we have for Odoo. So I'm going just to remove that specific part. Now I'm going to show you the property used as quantity. So I will go back to the option, and I will tell you more like why we are using that option. So if you go here to the properties, we have added here the property used as BOM quantity, and we can also use a different form of assembly, and we can also propagate to the SolidWorks BOM quantity here. So this was implemented for the integration that we have to ERP, because sometimes in ERP, let's imagine that you are working with weldments, and when you buy some profile for some specific weldment, you just buy them into specific lengths, which SolidWorks does not like understand. Like when you create, for instance, a profile which is like 2 meters, it does not know like that you can buy it in 2 meters, in 1 meter. So this BOM quantity can be used to really like define the BOM quantity. So I'm going to now create a new part in SolidWorks, and I believe this will be a bit more clear. So here this will be like let's make it like half a meter. So I will create here a weldment from that part. Yes, we can keep it like that here. So it's quite a small part. So I'm just going here to the option, and I'm also going to also introduce the nav connector that we have implemented. So here I have like everything already defined. I can already define the description so that I don't forget it. So when I go here from the item, so here I can run a live search against my ERP, and I know here the part that I have designed. I know that I have the reference for the profile that I need to buy inside NAV. So you see here, I know that this is the part, but as you can see here, I have to buy it as 1 meter, but for this part that I have designed, I only need like half a meter. So I can show you here in my virtual machine. So I'm going to start NAV. And now what I just did, I just run a live search directly from SolidWorks into NAV. And I'm not going to get too deep regarding the nav integration, because we are going to have a webinar in April where I'm going to cover the topic. So we can search here for this item. And here we have the item that we need. So this is basically what we are getting. I'm buying the profile, which is 1 meter, but for my demo, I only need half a meter. So here I have just linked the properties, so I can click on profile, and here I could define the BOM quantity. So I'm just going to write like 0.5. Okay, so now I'm going to click OK to save the part. So the part has been saved. So if I go back now to that piston, I could insert it. So just here, I'm going to save it. So one thing also that I could show you here, you see like any part that I select from here. So basically like here I have already like defined some specific information. For example, all the lookup lists, they can be linked directly to NAV. I can also generate some item number. You see here I don't have any item number. So when I generate the when I export that assembly to NAV, I'm going to generate the item number and write them back to the custom properties of my SolidWorks document. So if I click on export, so now it wants to export it to Odoo, but I'm going to select the nav profile. So you see here, it knows that this item already exists. So it's why it's like in OK. So here we have items that are going to be created. They are marked in green. And here I can also define some rules that this is something that I have to buy. So I don't want to create it. So this is why I have it as an ignore. So as you can see here, the quantity is 0.5. But if I just select this part, and I'm just going to make it like 2 here. So I'm going to save it. So if I go back to the export, you can see here that the quantity is 1. So you see I would need to order like 1 bar 0.5. If I would make it like maybe like I need to have like 3 times that part, so I should have like 1.5. So this is why we did the BOM quantity as a custom property. So once I click on export, so now I'm going also to create a PDF for that drawing, and I'm going to insert the okay, it says yep, it has failed for this one for some reason, but anyway I have like created like all the sorry, all the item in nav. So if I go back to the list of item here, we should have some new items that were exported during the export. So I can go back to export. I should have here the you see here I have like all the item numbers that were automatically generated. So we can check this one, for instance, the 765. So here you see that during the export I have just like exported, like make some mapping between the attributes of the nav item card and also like the custom property that I have defined in custom tools. We also have like a preview image that has been defined here. So this is what we can do, and I've also exported the the bill of material to the ERP. So this is what we have for the nav integration. And then the last thing that I would like to show you is the possibility you see here. This was the problem that a lot of customers had. So you see here we have the print profile, but I don't have print profile defined. So each time I open the batch operation, it starts from the print profile, which is quite annoying if you don't have any print profile, because I would like the batch operation to open from the batch conversion window directly. So if you click here, we have the navigation pane option, and here we can just like select that we want to hide the print profile, and we can also reorder the layer. So you see, for example, if I could move the task on top of the layer definition, so I will move it up. I will click on OK, and if I now return to the print and convert, you can see here that it opens directly from the batch operation, and the print profile have been like hidden. So if I want to show it again, I can go here and I can just like click OK to display it again. So this is what I had for the live demo. So I will give the mic back to Olle. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Francois. Okay, let's get back to the correct slide. So there was one last thing we wanted to mention today. So with every version of custom tools, we obviously, or every service pack, we obviously release a number of fixes to problems that have been reported, found by us or reported by you. And in this service pack, we fixed approximately 40 SPRs. Just did a small summary of here of the issues, and as you can see, most of the errors have been reported on Windows 10, and with this we can actually also conclude that most of custom tools users are actually on Windows 10 at the moment. That is the most common operating system today. You can also see that we have done fixes to, or the fixes have been distributed quite evenly amongst all of the functions of custom tools, maybe with the exception of actual batch jobs being the function where we did most of the work this time. I actually have a link here to the fixed SPRs. I'm not gonna go through them in detail here, but these are actually the ones that we have included in this release. If you want to ask about a specific SPR, you can do so after the meeting, after the recording has ended, or you can go back to the recording later and get in touch with us over email or from the contact form on the website if you want to know about a certain fix. Okay. That was basically all we had to show for you today. I would like to mention in the end, we have our next webinar in approximately 1 month. And it's not gonna be about custom tools this time. It's gonna be about our after sales and maintenance web platform, CT Publisher.
We are in the life-saving business. We kill your routines before they kill you.